right, let's take it there. Let's take it there. Pennsylvania, the Keystone State. Welcome, Renegades. Welcome, Gazelles. Shizzy here from Shizzy Report. I lived here, so it's going to be biased. Another state that I have lived in. Lived in Philadelphia. Been to Harrisburg. Did some, I got my realtor license, so I had to get my paperwork up there in the capital. Been through Allentown, driven through Pittsburgh. So I got a little familiarity with the state here. I was there for 4 years. Like I said, doing real estate in Philadelphia, the real estate part is going to be of interest because during that time in 2018, I saw a boom, right? And it was just really at the beginning stages to peak stages of that boom where I saw Chinese money coming in, foreign money, a lot of foreign money, Chinese, Russian, and New York City, and it would be private investment companies that are getting these properties, these row houses, let's say in Strawberry Mansion, Northern Liberties, Northeast Philly, and West Philly, and then kind of putting money in there. There's a lot of gentrification going on at that time, but these row houses, you could have scooped them up for 50 grand, 80 grand. As a realtor, I sold houses that were 100K to young families, and it was like the best thing ever, right? Do a little remodeling, and you could really change entire blocks here. So I was a part of that, seeing all that money come in. And then after that, these investors, Philly and Pennsylvania, it was done. So they were like, okay, where are we going to next? One investor that I was dealing with, he was like, well, I'm going to Baltimore because Philly is done. When a place is done, the investors don't get any real ROI because now those $50 to $80,000 properties, those are now 150. They don't see any true value in that. 150, 180. They're still well below the national average. However, they're small row homes. So I was there for that. So let's see what we're going to talk about today in that real estate criteria. However, I am coming in a little biased because I know Philadelphia, but we're going to get into it. The Keystone State. We're going to talk about the current population is 12.9 million. It's the fifth most populous state in U.S. People moving in, you got 130K. People moving out, 141.5. They're moving out. So we're negative. We're at a net migration. There's more people leaving than arriving for about 11,500 every year. The top areas gaining residents, though, you're seeing a lot of people move in that Cumberland County area, the Chester County area, Montgomery County area. The top areas losing residents, Philadelphia County, Allegheny County, and Delaware County, with Philadelphia County losing the most. Did you know Pennsylvania has one of the largest Amish populations in the world, mainly in Lancaster County? Yes, I did. In fact, I drove through there. I was going up to York for an interview for one of my older businesses. Going up to York. And I stopped through. We're in Lancaster. We're in Amish County. You're pulling over for the horse and carriage. It is what it is, okay? And I stopped at a McDonald's there. We were having some breakfast. It was one of the, I don't know why, but it just was one of the most cleanest, most friendly, customer-focused and oriented McDonald's I've ever been to in my life. Behind the counter, it seemed to me like they were Amish descent, okay? And I always put that like these guys care about their work. Not saying that no one else does, but I'm just saying you've been to a few McDonald's, okay? Not all of them are, I was down in one in Phoenix, and I think it was in Phoenix where I had to spin the block a couple of times. Like, am I even gonna go here? I shouldn't have went there because when you have the thought, don't go there, right? And I went there. The screens that they have you order on now, right? Because I guess there's no cashier, right? They don't want to even talk to you anymore. You order on the screen. It was so dirty and sticky and nasty. Like no one took the time to wipe it down to make you feel like you want. So I don't want to use it. I'm not using that. You got to put some gloves with using this filthy ordering screen. Like, this machine is dirty. So I go up to the cash register. No one's coming. They see me up there. Everyone's in the back by the kitchen, right? Everyone seems like they're busy. They don't have no time. They don't even want to make eye contact with you. That's why I made the video, customer service is fucking dead. I'm sorry, it's just dead, right? So finally, some young kid comes up. He's like, you have to use the machine. And I'm like, I'm not using that. It's dirty, it's disgusting. I'm just not using. Could you take my order right here? No, we can't do that. What do you mean you can't do that? So when you have these type of comparables and comparisons and this extreme over here, when I went through that Lancaster County, and so I've always spoken about that McDonald's because I've never seen anything like it. The young guy took my order and said, go have a seat. We'll bring it to you. Mind you, you know how all the tables are always sticky inside McDonald's, the floor. As soon as you walk, you're hearing that sound because the floors are sticky and nasty with dirty mops. It was the cleanest, most refreshing, peaceful, airy, bright. The guy brings the food out. I've never even seen that in a McDonald's. So yeah, I'm going to give props to the Amish population. I know that place was run by Amish teens or something. I don't know what it was, but 5 stars out of 5 stars for a McDonald's, man. For a McDonald's. Okay. I'm sorry. I had to sell that story. It's been on my mind for a while. So here goes with the job market and economy. Unemployment rate is 3.7. It's just below the national average. The average salary needed for a comfy, the stats say, 1920s economics says that you need an average salary of $62,500 a year. It's close to the national average. National average is $65,000. People are moving out because of the high taxes. So we're going to get into the taxes and find out, you got retirees moving out, but you also got a bunch of people moving out for high taxes and going to other states. The top industries are healthcare and pharmaceuticals, finance and insurance, technology and innovation. Got logistics and transportation. The UPS hub is in Harrisburg. Manufacturing, steel, machinery, and food processing. There's a town called Bethlehem in up 78 there, and it really is like an old town for steel. I think they kind of remodeled the town now, but you could kind of tell that town was for freight trains, moving machinery, steel, and all of that stuff. I love those type of old town that kind of keeps the charm of what it used to be and what it produced. All right, so the major employers in Pennsylvania: UPMC Health System, Walmart, Comcast, PNC Financial, Penn State University, and Hershey's. Hershey's, baby. And also, if you know that whole Utz chip, I moved from Jersey well, I did a stint in Delaware, then I went to Philly, but I never seen so much Utz until I moved, and because that's their home. That's their home, baby. All right, so recent economic news coming out. Pittsburgh is booming right now. Okay, who would have thought it? As a tech and AI hub attracting investments. And one of the real estate investors that I spoke about, they said, yeah, Pittsburgh is our next move. And it does take a good 5 to 10 years to really see what real estate can do. A quick boom, is really 5 to 10 years, when you think about it. So I could imagine that. Philadelphia's real estate market is seeing record foreign investments. Record foreign investments. I saw it with my own 2 eyes, guys. I had to get a translator on the phone. Like, you speak Chinese through my phone because you got the money. I know the properties. I know the places. And one thing about me is I did research on the up and coming places. So I was able to tell my investors what I'm seeing on the ground, the trends on the ground. Because I had a mentor in Philly. And, one of the best things he ever told me was, he's a real estate investor. He said, listen, Stace, I don't just go get a house or a property or land or multifamily resident. I don't just go out there and say, oh, I'm going to go here. Okay. I'm just going to get it here because the price is low, whatever. He follows huge contract and development companies. So if he finds out that someone took out a construction to develop, let's say 10 acres of land and turning it into mixed use property, he'll find the areas around there and purchase or build. And I said, man, that's genius. That's genius. So here we go. Sorry, guys. I keep digressing. I do this to states that I'm familiar with, but it just adds for more depth, right? Pennsylvania announced $3.5 billion in infrastructure projects to boost economic growth. The first computer was built in Pennsylvania at the University of Pennsylvania. I didn't know that. That's nice. The median home income is $290,000. Right now, it's below the national average of 400. You know what the national average? The national average is $417K. Philadelphia, the rent prices, this is one bedroom, $1,650. That's about right on target. I would think, between $1,650 and $1,800 for a one bedroom in Philly. When I left in 2019, 2018, I was paying that for a studio. Okay, I had a studio there. Pittsburgh, $1,200 a month. Harrisburg, $1,150 a month. Not too familiar with that, but we're just going to take the stats as a stat. Real estate trends. Home prices increased 4% year over year due to low inventory. Okay. Low inventory, bidding war, low inventory. You could tag another price on it. It's worth $280. The people that want it, they're going to go get it. It's another $20,000 on top of the house. So inventory, the prices increases 4% year over year. That's just how the market works. Hottest markets right now is the Pittsburgh suburbs, Harrisburg, and Allentown. The slowest markets is Philadelphia's older neighborhoods, seeing slower appreciation. Okay. And of course, Philadelphia went through its boom. Like, look at Northern Liberties, right? All right, so the Hershey Company, if you didn't know, they built an entire town, Hershey, PA, for its workers in the early 1900s. Okay. All right, so let's get with the taxes and cost of living. The state income tax is flat. It's 3.07, which is one of the lowest in the U.S. The property tax is above the national average. So the property tax is 1.58%, and I think that's where people are leaving. Okay, sales tax, higher in cities like Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, but it's 6%. And in it's going to be higher. I think they tag on another up to 2%. Don't quote me on that. Vehicle costs, it's right now the gas price is about $3.50 to $3.75. If you're in the area, let me know what that looks like. And that's for the state. Vehicle registration, $38 a year. Electric vehicle, though, there's additional $175 a year. So you're looking at over $200 if you have an EV there. All right. So Pennsylvania, if you didn't know, has the most covered bridges in the U.S. 200 plus is still standing. All right. So let's talk about the business climate and the entrepreneurship realm. The corporate tax is 4.99%. That's reduced from almost half. It was at 9.99% in 2023, was reduced to attract businesses. This is what states have to do. They have to do this. All right, so business incentives, they have the low interest loans for small business. They have research and development tax credits, Keystone Opportunity Zones, tax-free zones for businesses. Pittsburgh ranks top 10 in the U.S. for startups in AI and biotech. So there's a lot of activity coming out of Pittsburgh region. Pennsylvania ranked number 12 for best states to start a business. All right, let's talk about crime and safety, what that data brings here. Violent crime is 3.6 per every 1,000 residents. Every 3.5 residents, for every 1,000 residents. So slightly behind the national average of 4. 4 in every 1,000 gets a violent crime upon them. Property crime is 14.5 per 1,000 residents, lower than the national average of 16.5. Most dangerous city is Chester, high violent crime rate. So Chester, I've been down there, been through there as a realtor. I was trying to sell a home in Chester. The guy has a padlock on it, and somebody wanted to see it. Again, out of state, out of country, right? Somebody wanted to see it. It's down. Chester has a lot of, I think there's so much opportunity down there. There's a soccer stadium down there. There's, water, but there's also a damn prison down there across the street from a casino. So a lot of businesses does not survive there. There's just not a lot of traffic. It's off a beaten path. It's very run down looking. However, again, with that, it's potential. So I'm telling the guy, hey, somebody wants to look at your property. I'm with him, and I'm surprised too, because I'm like, man, this is just gonna be one that I don't know if it's gonna sell. I'll take it under my belt, but the guys that just put it on the market just to see that something's on the market but don't really want to sell. That's this guy. So I called him. I said, hey, somebody wants to look at it. Hey, nah, I'm not home. He got like upset. And he took the key out the thing. I'm like, listen, guy, I'm not even coming back down here if I don't have to, okay? You're lucky I'm even coming down here. But so there's a high violent crime in that area. Philadelphia, the crime is concentrated in certain areas. A lot of people say North Philly, right? So North Philly, that's where a huge college is. I forget the name. I don't know why I would forget the name of that college up there. It just slipped me. Let me get that while I'm here. Oh yeah, Temple. Temple University is right in North Philly, and what you saw and what I saw during that time is that new students that come in, it's right smack dab in the hood, right? And so around the college is pretty. They built the stadium, they got the streets widened, the bike lanes come in anywhere around the area. And what contributed contributed to that was that the parents said, you know what? Forget renting. I could just buy a small one of these row houses, and just stay there, because these things were $60,000. Right? So the parents ended up buying these properties around the school, and that started the process to bring, at least around Temple, North Philly back into the fold. All right. Philadelphia, like we said, it's in certain areas. Reading, higher poverty-related crime. Safer cities, though, we got State College, low crime, high quality of life. Upper St. Clair, suburban safety, near Pittsburgh. And Lower Marion, affluent and well policed. Lower Marion, is this where Kobe went to high school? I went to the Whole Foods over there. The Whole Foods and the Trader Joe's when I was there. Yeah, so that's where Kobe went to high school, play high school ball. All right. So the best cities to live, you got Pittsburgh, Hershey, and Harrisburg coming in. And the worst places to live, you got Chester and Johnstown. Okay? So the final verdict here is you got a strong job market and major industries in Pennsylvania. Low state income tax, right? Affordable home prices at the median that it's at. Rich history and culture. You know the history that's there. And if you hadn't been to Philadelphia, just go just for the historical measure. The cons, higher than average property taxes. Some areas have high crime and aging infrastructure and harsh winters in some regions. And just to touch on that infrastructure, the traffic is crazy. I don't know why I didn't get that. Let me see what. All right, let's talk about commute times. All right, so they still built their roads like they're on horse and carriage. Most of these 2-lane highways, 76, you're going to be on that bad boy forever. All right, here comes the commute times. Philadelphia, you got 31.8 minutes. Commuting methods, driving 75%. Public transportation is not too bad in PA. Pittsburgh, you got 25 and a half minutes to commute. Allentown 23, Harrisburg 22. So we do have the worst commute time in Philadelphia, and that is a definite. So it ranks number 9 for worst traffic congestion in the U.S., and that's Philadelphia. And that's one of the reasons that I can't take that lifestyle anymore. With the traffic, you just jump on 76 and you're done. You're done. You're done for the day. Okay, hopefully you got a good audiobook or you're listening to these videos while you're on 76. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Go ahead and subscribe if you already haven't. If you're in PA, think about PA. Tell us why. Why are you thinking about PA? Why you think about leaving PA? What are some things to love and hate about the state? I'll see you in my next video. Have a beautiful day.